Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie. And on this day in history, 6th of May, what happened? Well, we're going back to the 6th of May, 1954. So on this day in history, many things happened. But the one event that I've chosen to look at is Dr. Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. And he did that at the Commonwealth Games in 1954 in Vancouver, Canada. Oh, right. So we're going to look at that day in history. Not any other day, not any day after, but on the 6th of May and the energy around Roger Bannister on that day. So let's just get to it. I'm going to pull a Celtic cross, thinking all the time of Dr. Bannister and this amazing achievement. And then we'll go through it all. Okay. All right, so let me just move everything over a little bit so you can see a little bit more clearly. All right, so let's start at the heart of the matter. So let's just pull these out of the way. And at the centre of everything, the Ace of Cups. Dr. Roger Bannister. This was the most emotional day of his life. Throughout the day, every emotion that you can imagine he went through. At the very beginning, not quite knowing whether the weather would be good enough for him to do it. Just feeling just so proud, just so pleased to finally be there, to have come all the way from, Oxford in the UK, all the way over to Vancouver to do this race. He had one thing on his mind, and that was this race, winning this race, the Ace of Cups. All his passion, all of his heart had gone into this. Every bit of energy that he had, and it was his life for so long, training and working. And this, the Ace of Cups, this was just the whole of his emotions on that day were just so strong, every emotion. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. He felt like this was, the tens are the top, really. It's everything. You've worked. Ten of Pentacles, you've come to the top. You've worked so hard. That's it. This is where all that hard work, all that foundation work, all those laps he ran, all that training, everything that he did to aid his running, to train for his running, everything had come together at the Ten of Pentacles. This is your absolute pinnacle of, you can't say success because he hadn't won yet, but it was all those foundations. The pentacles very much being, the bricks and the mortar and the coins and everything materialistic and earthy that had gone into this. The blood, sweat, and the tears, I see this as. The Ten of Pentacles. He'd done his absolute best. If he couldn't beat the 4-minute mile, it wasn't through lack of trying. And that's why I see the Ten of Pentacles, all that grunt work that had gone into it. And now's the time. Now's his time. So he gets to Vancouver and they get to wherever this race was being run. In the top of the mind, we've got the Two of Swords. The wind was really, really up that day. And of course, you can't run a world record time when the winds are against you. So he's at the stadium, he's all ready to go, but the wind is too strong. And he's saying, no, I'm going to pull out. I'm not going to do it. If I can't get this record, I don't want to do it. I don't want the wind to be against me. And they kept checking the wind. And he said there was like a flag on one of the buildings, and he just kept looking at this flag, and it was blowing, and he could feel the wind. And this is very much a Two of Swords. You're waiting, you're trying to decide, shall I run, shan't I run? And he was very mixed. And at one stage it was, no, I'm definitely not running. And then, the wind would drop a bit. Well, maybe I can. And it was all this, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't see at the moment whether I'm going to be running this race or not. And this was right at the top of, his whole concern at the top of the day. Am I actually going to be able to do this race? I don't know. And then 20 minutes before the race, yeah, the wind dropped. He was able to let that go. He was able to let that go. And so he was able to enroll, do the race. And at the bottom here, we have the Six of Pentacles. This is what's been like sort of bubbling underneath this day, underneath, his lead up to this race. The Six of Pentacles, it's not even give and take. I think, even give and take, you give 50% to your studies, 50% to your running, everything's a very balanced sort of life. You put in effort and, it's rewards and giving out, receiving, everything nicely balanced. It's very sort of, this kind of energy, everything's nice and even, give, take. Well, no, his life hadn't been like that. Everything had been going into running. I can see from that he probably neglected his studies to some degree. He was training to be a doctor. And I can think that, leading up to this very important race, I think running took the most important place. So it was very uneven. He was giving more time. Six of Pentacles in reverse is not even give and take. He was giving far more of his time to the track than he was to his books. Because he knew that if he didn't do it in Vancouver, that was his last chance. He had to buckle down. He was going to be a doctor, and, it was a retirement from running. So he put everything into it. And, it was just like, I'm going to give everything to my running. And, if it works out, that's great. I'll have a record. If it doesn't, I need to retire because I'm going to be a doctor and I have to think about my future. So I very much see this as the very central energy. And the Wheel of Fortune, I think that he wanted this very badly, but on the way up to this race, he was very much, if it's meant to be, it will be. Let the gods decide. The wind's now dropped. I can do this. The Wheel of Fortune, I feel like I'm on top. It's very much like this Ten of Pentacles card. I've done everything I possibly can. I couldn't have done more. So I'm at the top of my wheel. So I am giving this 100%. I'm at the top of my wheel. And, the gods must be with me because I couldn't have done any more. So that was sort of leading up to the race. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles. This is the work card, the workaholic card. Now, we know that he's training to be a doctor, but I just think this is lap after lap, time trial after time trial, doing it. This is just the leading up, the sort of near future. I don't know when his last training run would have been before this particular race, but, he had given his all. And if you see this, it is like blood, sweat and tears, isn't it? The fire of the training, that sort of workaholic card. He'd given it everything. So much passion here, so much hard work. And that's the way I would describe this: hard work and dedication here. And then we're coming up the outside. On this day, Justice. Well, he was up against John Landy, who'd already ran a 4-minute mile, but he hadn't run it in a big competition. So, he's got John Landy there. He's got some very, very good competition. And he's sort of thinking to himself, what will be, will be. I can't have done any more. I can't control what anybody else is going to do. This is very much the Justice card. But I'm right. I've worked hard. I've been true and just. This is the sword upright, and I will do my best. That's the only thing that I can do. And that's the way he went into it. That's the way he went up to that start line. And then on the start line, bang, the Chariot. Off you go. Look at these horses thundering along. And I would imagine from this, he was just so full of energy. I would imagine that he was so full of adrenaline, so full of energy. This is like the adrenaline card, that I just feel that it felt easy. It felt easy, and he was just running and just had this horsepower behind him. And it just seemed like he had more in him, and he always had more in him. And it was just with the roar of the crowds as well. This is just sort of, you can hear the cheering and the roaring of the crowds, and it just took off, absolutely took off. And Three of Wands is, you can see it coming. You can see, I would see this as Three of Wands is like, you see your ship coming in, but I can imagine this as you see the finish line, you see it approaching. He could see John Landy ahead of him. And, on that fourth and final lap, he just started to creep in on John Landy. John Landy was just like his ship coming in. He could see him. He was starting to nip at his heels. He went past him. And, John Landy was that sort of ship in the distance that he had to catch, caught him, overtook him. And then the next Three of Wands, the next post, the next thing that was drawing him to it was the finish post. And over he went. And my God, was he the emperor? What an amazing achievement. The emperor, well, he got exactly what he deserved. He did it in 3 minutes 59.4, maybe something like that. I haven't got it down to the millisecond, but it was up there somewhere. 3 minutes 59, call it. And over he went. And oh my goodness, what an amazing roar of the crowd. So much attention, worldwide audience, absolutely incredible. And then he just totally collapsed. So I just want the energy after all this. He's crossed the finish line, and I remember seeing the old black and white footage. He was just a star, wasn't he? It was all cameras on him, all eyes on him. So can you picture that? I don't know if you can picture that old black and white footage of him crossing the line, the star of the show, over the line, and then he just collapses afterwards. He just like sort of falls into the arms. I don't know whether it's his teammates, his trainer, whoever it was, he fell into their arms. Nine of Wands, yes. I mean, the Nine of Wands, that is, I've got nothing left. What a fantastic card to represent that. The Nine of Wands is on your knees, and he was. You just saw his legs buckled from under him. The Nine of Wands, I have nothing more to give. This soul here can't even hold his sword, the sword of righteousness. He can't even hold the sword up because he's so exhausted. And that was definitely Roger Bannister at the end there. He just collapsed. It had been torturous for him. And still the crowds are roaring. And I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful reading. It just shows this man's dedication to doing this. And he went on after that. And I know I said it was the energy for the day, but, then he's studying to be a doctor. And terribly clever man. He's at Oxford, and then he's, at a college studying medicine, went on to be a neurosurgeon or a neurologist. So I just want to know, once he'd finished that race, what's he thinking then? What's he thinking? After he's finished that race, he's thinking Six of Wands. He's thinking, what a victory. And he was a hero. He came back to England as a hero. He was in Canada as a hero. The Six of Wands is very much everyone applauding you. Wow, what an amazing job you've done. The world applauding this man. And so what was his reaction to all of this? He's got what he wanted. Two of Wands. He got what he wanted. Now it's time to work. The Two of Wands is very much right. This is the pause card. Take a breath. Now I need to buckle down. I need to do my studies. I'm, going to train to be a doctor. The Two of Wands is, you stand there, you're looking out at your future, and everything that you've done, you've put into this running, put it into this breaking this 4-minute mile. Once he'd had the, exhausted, collapsed over the finish line, and everybody then had said, amazing, and, just so much applause for him. His next step was just a pause. I've got to get on with my studies. I've got the rest of my life now. So there was just a little bit of a break, a little bit of a gap, weighing up the situation, deep breath, get to the books, become a neurologist, and get on with the rest of my life. What a fantastic reading. This gentleman, he was born March the 23rd. He was an Aries, typical fire sign, all that passion in this. Born, 23rd of March, 1929. He broke this wonderful record at the age of 25. As I say, he went on to be a neurologist, studied medicine, and had a fantastic career. And then he died in 2018, so very recently, really, at the age of 89. And what an amazing life he had, and what a legacy he had. And I think probably up to date now, probably close to 2,000 people have broken this 4-minute mile. It's no longer, still fast, still very fast, but it's not that sort of mystical thing that it once was. I think probably about 2,000 athletes have actually broken that 4-minute mile. But he was the first one to do it officially and in front of all those crowds. But mustn't forget John Landy, because he also did it, and he actually did it first. So full respect to Mr. John Landy of Australia. He just didn't manage to do it in such a major competition. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you know more about Dr. Bannister, and you have anything to add, please let me know, because you always come up with things that I don't know, and I very much appreciate that. Anyway, have a lovely day, and I'll be back with another one very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.